Yeah, we're starting. All right. Good morning, everybody. Unfortunately, Mashiach did not come yesterday. Yes, yeah, I'm saying yesterday.
Born today.
Okay.
Yesterday.
Okay. So we left off yesterday. We are 2 days ago. We left off. Today is Daf Nun, I guess. So we left off a Mem Testament base. We got to the top over there, I think. Oh, right. Am I on the wrong page?
Daf Nun.
Hey there, right? Huh? Whatever, Rabbi called me. She's because of comments. Oh, no, a little lower down. Oh, all right. Yeah, smack in the middle. I was thinking at the top. Okay. Fine, yeah. Mem Testament base.
Oh, Mem Testament. Oh,
Mem Testament base.
Oh,
Mara says, Mashma, that the husband cannot go ahead and create a chazaka on his wife's property. So that's what he said, because she won't make a macha, she'll do it. So the Gemara says, Mashma, is it ha raya yesh. But let's say he has witnesses that she agreed to the sale, and now it's his. That does work. So the Gemara says, Tema, here comes the question. So Nachas Ruach.
He bought her next same balloon.
Yeah, he bought her off her. And therefore, the whole thing was, let's say the guy claims he's been in the field for 5 years. He says, it was mine. I bought it from her. That's why I've been using it for 5 years. She says, so you can't make a chazaka. We said in the Mishnah, you can't make a chazaka because the woman won't say anything. She won't make a macha. If the other side won't make a macha, therefore the chazaka doesn't work because you need both to hold true. You need the person to be willing to make the protest, or for that person should have made the protest. And if that person didn't make the protest for 3 years, it must mean that person sold it to him. So he said the wife wouldn't make the protest. The Gemara smashma. But if he has proof that indeed that he bought it off her, he would keep it. So the Gemara says, "Teva nachas ruchas." He says, "Labali, why can't she claim?" As we'll soon see. No, I was just trying to I didn't want to sell it. I was just trying to make my husband happy, so therefore I went along with it. I want to have shalbais. Tonight that we learned in the Mishnah, it says, "Lokach mina ish." A person goes ahead, a married couple has the property, so he buys it off the husband. Let's say the rights to it, and then he buys it off of her, right? In other words, let's say he had the rights to it, then it potentially could, as we'll soon see, could have been used as for her ksuba. So he buys it off the husband, and he buys whatever rights she has off of her. And the guy, let's say the husband dies, and the other guy, the buyer says, "Okay, it's mine." Mecho bato. The sale is void. Why is that? I thought she agreed with him. Alma nachas ruachas hisib labali. She says, "I just went along with it. I didn't want to have animosity and uncomfortable Shabbos table." So Hachanami, say over here, how could the husband go ahead and purchase, even if he brings proof? Hachanami tema nachas ruachas hisib labali.
She has a prior claim on it anyway because of her ksuba, even if it belongs to him.
No, but you can sell something. Even if I have rights to something, then I sell it, it's no longer mine, right? I bought something.
That's all he had for her to collect her ksuba.
But she sold it. Right? She sold it. Let's see. The Gemara's going to be a little bit like you. But that's the counter argument, right? She sold it. You can sell something. Even if I have the rights to something, I can sell my rights to something. Yeah. So the Gemara says,
didn't sell her rights to her ksuba.
No,
he sold her rights.
So he has to pay her cash, and she doesn't. But she can't go ahead and take this land because she sold this land. So Gemara says, "Hayi tamar la." No, we said over there. What's the case over there where she can say nachas ruachas hisib labali? So Amar Rabbi Rafuna like nitzacha ela bi'aisan gimel sadais. No, there's 3 cases of where the woman can say that she didn't really sell it. So achas, one of them shekasala b'ksuvasa. One of them is actually written in the ksuba. If I do not go ahead, right, I don't give you the money for the ksuba, then the parcel A will be your ksuba to collect. Then, in the middle of a marriage, husband wants to go ahead and sell parcel A, and she has to go ahead and sign off for it, and get the so she signs off, right? So such a case, she's just doing it to make her husband happy, but really, right, she wanted her ksuba. So that was if it was written in. Similarly, the achas sheyichala b'ksubasa, or one that he designated, it wasn't written in there, but he designated, let's say, in front of witnesses. The achas, third one, shehiknasa lo. The third one is nachas shehiknasa lo shumi shalom, right? And is that what she brought into the marriage and had it assessed? In other words, let's say Tzona Barzel, right? Next Tzona Barzel, basically, this is what is brought in. This is the value. It's basically a lien, right? Her lien on it, and he owes her that. But he, in other words, but if it fluctuates, right? So that's on that's on him. So therefore, those things she doesn't really sell because she owns the rights of that. So now the miyute mai to exclude us. So those three cases, the woman can say, "Hey, oh, just kidding, I didn't mean it." Mashma, which case does she mean? So if you want to say, let's say, other properties that the husband has, right? Maybe he'll say, well, why, why are you selling, the other stuff? Why are you writing out? Why do you want to sell? Is it because you want me to be able to get rid of the other land? So in other words, that I'll be able to, you want to go ahead and write off so I can go ahead and sell it to another man. Why? You're getting away from me to divorce you? Right? You're looking towards the end of this marriage. That's why you're signing off on these other things. So therefore, you might have animosity. So those cases, you're going to say that. So rather, we'll say to exclude nixay malug. Now, nixay malug, we don't say just kidding. I didn't mean it. In other words, if it was designated for the ksuba like those cases, or another case, the other properties, then yes. But nixay malug sounds like that it would be sincere, and therefore nixay malug, she owns the property, he owns the rights to the payros, and therefore if it fluctuates up and down, whatever it is, it comes back to her, whatever the land is hers. So those cases, but if she sells those things, then it would go to the new buyer, like we said, right? Haraya, right? If there was a proof that she sold it, then she could.
But now,
Yeah.
But it's cash. The woman has cash.
Then she brings
Luger or
she brings in cash, or
yeah, she has cash.
So normally,
I thought it was safe.
right? So normally things that normally come in are nixay maluk.
So right, so
That's the standard,
she sells her properties, now she has cash.
right? So you're saying, right? So that, so right? But if she sells, right? So let's say she sells something. She writes off and she sells, so she gets paid for it. So until now, right? So now it's like this. Next thing, look, she owns the property, right? So when she sells it, she receives the money to it. Now the husband really has to sign off for it because the husband he's getting the payros until now, and all of a sudden your payros are gone, right? But the owner got cash, and you're stuck without payros, right? So he really, as we'll soon see, there's going to be rights of the payros. So he would have to agree to that. Otherwise, unless it could be okay, go ahead and sell it, but put it in an account. But even that, because then her value, I guess the assessment, maybe that's inflation, whether her value goes up and down, but the interest maybe he would get, or whatever it was, because that would be the payros from the money. Well, but he would have to sign off. She couldn't do it without his consent. So but what do you mean? A Maimar says a man and woman is shemachu b'nechsei malug. They sold the nechsei malug. Right, literally, your case you're talking about. They shake hands. Okay, you own the payros, I own the land. We'll sell it together. Loss of like klum. You can't go ahead and sell it. Understand? We just said in our Mishnah that the guy brings a raya, you can go ahead and buy it. And over here, it seems like the two of them could go ahead and they can't sell it. It's like and Ihu Umes. No, that only he sold his own portion, and then he died. And he also and therefore she can come along, and I was not both of them together, rather one of them. And then the guy sold his rights, and then he says, "Oh, good, the guy died. Now I have his rights." He says, "No." Then she comes along and she can throw the buyer out of the land, or Inami is of the E. She sold the rights ownership of the land. Umesa, and she dies. Asaihi, and then she can go ahead and toss out the buyer. Right? She can go ahead and toss out the excuse me, 1 second. Let's skip a line. What's that? Inami Zavna Ihi, right? She sold it, Umesa, right?
And
So
she
she,
does.
right, so she sold it, and then, right, and so in other words, one second, right, Zana Ihi, Umesa, Asa Ihu, Umapi, but Takanas the Rabbanan, therefore he can go ahead and remove the Takan the Rabbanan. In other words, he has first rights over, even though she sold to somebody else after they got married. A woman who goes down and sells the next and she dies. The husband can go ahead and sell it because the husband is actually the initial buyer, right? When did he buy it? The date of the marriage. So therefore, she subsequently sold the property. He actually is the first buyer, and therefore he can go ahead and remove the buyer paid it. But her value, then the but if they both sold it together to somebody else, inami or zavni ledide, but if she sold to him, then zvine. Then they would be able to go. Then she would be able to go ahead and to sell it, which is just like we said. The woman would be able to go ahead and sell. And this would go along with what we've said until now, that a woman could sell the husband. It's not the case of where she can claim, nachas ruach hasisi, and it's not a case of that she signed off and it'll be okay. Or a Maimar, why did a Maimar say the husband and wife cannot go ahead and sell it? They would say like Rabbi Elzar. And this long brisa, the time of the brisa, Hamaychers Abdo, Upasaka Imo, Shayim Shenu, Shloishim Yem. I go ahead and I sell my Eved Alan I sell it to Eddie. So I sell Eddie, you give me cash for Alan. However, I want 30 days to use Alan, my Eved Kanani, right? Sorry, you've been demoted, right? My Eved Kanani for 30 days, and afterwards, then he's all yours. Okay, now there's a special halacha when it comes to an Eved Kanani. Now, one is not allowed to go ahead and kill a person. Now, not only that, a person goes ahead and kills a person, and I punch him. He goes into a coma, and the guy dies 2 months later. I'm chayiv. Okay, but when it comes to an Eved Kanani, it's a 24-hour rule. If the guy did not die within 24 hours, I'm no longer chayiv misa. So now the question is going to be: I'm selling Eddie Allen, but for the first 30 days, I have the payros, and Eddie owns the Karen, owns the principal. So who gets this 24-hour rule with Eved Kanani? Whose slave is it? So I might first
who injures the guy?
No. Well, either one. We're talking about the case. But which one of them has the halacha of beyond 24 hours? I'm putter because I'm the owner. Who's the real owner in these 30 days? Is it the guy who can use it, or is it the guy who owns it afterwards? So Shleishim Yayim Sa'igas for 30 days. So Meir Harishon Yeshna Bedin. I, the seller, have the din yoma yamayim, right? If he dies within a day or two, i.e., 24 hours, because I'm the one who has the right of usage, and therefore the halacha applies to me. But Eddie, in that case, since during those 30 days, and Eddie punches him, the guy dies, but he dies 2 weeks later. Eddie would be chayiv. It's not considered to be the owner. Because he doesn't have ownership at the time. Stover, why? Kinyan payros, kinyan and goof. The one who owns the payros, the usage, he is the true owner. Therefore, I'm the true owner for the first 30 days, and therefore, as the case. So that was Rabbi Meir. I will soon see why we bring this price up. Rabbi Yehuda opposite, he says, Hasheni Yeshua did. No. The guy who owns the actual slave, he is the Medin Yom. He has the day or two kaspa because it's his money, it's his possession. And Harishan and Medin Yom, and the first one is not. The guy who has the usage for 30 days is not in the luck of Yom Yamayim. Why? Shayna Kaspa, because it's not Lamaisa, it's not his money, it's not his property. Ksaver, Kinyan Peros, Lav Kikin and Gufdami. And he holds that just owning the rights to it is not tantamount to owning the item itself, and therefore Eddie is a true owner, and therefore the den of Yom Yamayim only goes with Eddie. And Rabbi Yasi says, no. Shneim Yeshnan Bedin Yom Yamayim. Both of them, either one have the halacha, they're considered to be the owner, and therefore they have the halacha of if he goes and smacks the guy, if he doesn't die within 24 hours, then he's pater. Why? One is because in that case, I was the one who was in charge of him for 30 days. And Eddie, because he owned him. When we speculate, and therefore is also suffix whether we say kinan is tantamount to kinan guftami or lav or not, kinan guftami. And therefore, we don't know really which one, and therefore we're not going to say, "Oh, the guy died a week later, you're chayiv misa," because we don't know. Maybe he's not chayiv misa because maybe he was considered to be the owner. So therefore, suffix nefash lahakim or ila and Rabbi Elazar, whose opinion we wanted to bring in and say a Meimar was saying like Rabbi Elazar, Omer, shneim eina b'din yom yamayim. Neither one is considered to be the owner. If neither one's considered to be owner and you smack the guy dies a week later, you're chayiv misa. Why? Because each one, either you don't have, Eddie doesn't have the rights to him, or me, I didn't own him. The Amar Rabba, my time Rabbi Elazar. What's the reason called Rabbi Elazar? Amar Kra, the pasuk says, Im Yakum loy kaspo, right? Who? So kaspo miyuchalo. So it says, Im Yakum loy kaspo. He's this kaspo. In other words, he has to be miyucha to him, and if he's not miyucha to him, then he's not the true owner. So too in the case of the man and the woman, when it comes to the nichsei malug, neither one owns the full rights to it. You can't say, therefore, the husband has no shaykhs to the Karen, and the woman has no shaykhs to the peros, and therefore, Maimar holds like that, and therefore it can't be sold, because what this one has, the other one doesn't have. The other one doesn't have. They can't even sell together because none of them really own the entire thing to join the other one, right? It's not like a case of 50-50. It's each one is unique and different, and therefore they couldn't even sell together, and that's what Maimar was saying. Or, fine, two dots. Now we see the opposite, right? And a man cannot. We say a man cannot go ahead and have a chazaka in the woman's property. A woman has to go ahead and make a macha. So wait, if you have to make a macha, sounds like you have to make a macha to prevent a chazaka, right? You have to protest in order to stop the 3 years. So what do I mean? If there's no chazaka, you don't need to make a macha. So what's going on here? Why is Rav saying so Gemara says now, okay, what case is Rav talking about? If we're talking about another man, not her husband, in other words, let's say her maluk property, and this other guy's been using it for 3 years. So if you want to say another man, she should have made a machav amarav a machzik v'nichsei, right? Then there's no chazak by nichsei because the woman is not going to make a machav because she's married, right? So let the husband go ahead and do it, but the husband doesn't necessarily have to do it because he doesn't know the rights to it. So therefore, another man technically can't really make a chazak on it. Elalav, rather, we're talking about the husband. She's not the husband, but I understand. So it must be the husband. So you make him a chaz. So you see, a husband could make a chazakas. Really, you're right. It is the husband. So what's the machash he should have made? He wasn't just using. If he's using and utilizing the field, so she's not going to go ahead and say anything. But if he's causing damage, he's digging ditches, right, and cisterns and stuff like that, and caves, then she should make a machash. Right. In other words, if he didn't have ownership to it, he wouldn't be able to go ahead. That's not normal usage. That's not just using it for the payros. There's no chazaka for nezikin. What do you mean? If someone goes ahead and does constant damage, he doesn't show ownership. Isn't that what he said? No. Ema ain din chazaka nezikin. No. He didn't mean if you damage it for over 3 years, you don't make chazaka. It means there is no halacha of 3 years when it comes to nezikin. So if I'm using something in a damaging way, the owner is not going to sit around for 3 years and at the end of 3 years say, "Oh, I'll make him a chod." The last 3 years, nothing. Because the damage, he's going to come out of his, he's run out of his front door, right, still in his gachkas, and go ahead and yell, "Why are you digging up my property?" Right. So in other words, if the husband is doing that, right, the macha is immediate. It's not forever. And therefore, the person, she should make a macha if she's going to causing damage, or Ibai Sema, Lavi Tamarla was not said over there of Mari Amar Bekutra. Rav Zida Amar Bebesakise. We're talking about something, right? What's the reason why you don't need to make a macha? Because we're talking about something which is constantly damaging. Like you want to go ahead and put a kiln there, which causes smoke, or you go ahead and you put an outhouse out there, causes bad damage. So there is no chazak when it comes to that. In other words, if I put something out there, basic kisa, and it's out there for 5 years, the neighbor can still go ahead and say, tear it down, or what are you doing? You're causing damage to me from the smells. And therefore, such a case, so that was what it means, that there is no chazaka, because in other words, you put something damaging, you can all time in the world, you do not go ahead and establish a chazaka. And Rav Yosef Amar L'Yelam B'Acher, we're talking about somebody else, and she has to make a macha. Why is that? In other words, the next malug, and the guy basically bought it off the husband. Then the husband died. The shalosh le'achar misa sabal, and then he was using it for 3 years after the husband died. Now, why should she make him a chla before? Why he can go ahead. I assume this is law. Where's the base? Yeah, should be law, right? Amar, he could have said, right? So he said, because he can claim, I bought it from you. In other words, since he's on it for 3 years and she didn't say anything, he can claim, I bought it from you. So so therefore, when he says, since he could have claimed that, so therefore, believe him. Let's just listen to me again. Believe me that that I bought it off your husband and then bought it off you, because I could have just said I bought it off what's it called? I bought it, he could have said I bought it off you. So therefore, believe me when I say that I bought it off your husband and therefore I bought it off you. So therefore, since he could have the migo to say that he bought it off her because he's been using it for 3 years. So therefore, he's believed to say he bought it from the husband, the rights from the husband, and therefore, and now, and then he, what's it called? And then he sold it to me. In other words, right? No, she. No, sorry, that's what it was. She sold it to the husband, right, before he died, right, and then he sold it to this guy, right? So therefore, and he will be believed. Why? Because he could just say, I bought it from you, lady, after your husband died, because I've been out for 3 years. So therefore, in order to prevent, right? So if someone else was on the land for 3 years, because he could just claim you sold to your husband sold to me, and I've been out for 3 years. So therefore, in order to do that, that's the reason why a woman should go ahead and make a macha, because someone else can go ahead and take it from her. All right, we'll stop here at the Gufa. Shkech, everybody. Everybody have a wonderful day.